The intense summer monsoon season reached a dramatic peak across the desert Southwest on Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. A volatile atmospheric mix of extreme heat and a powerful surge of moisture from the Gulf of California triggered a wave of severe weather. The outbreak prompted the National Weather Service, NWS, to issue a series of urgent severe thunderstorm warnings, flood watches, and a highly rare tornado warning for parts of southern and northern Arizona. The evening storms unleashed destructive winds, heavy downpours, quarter-sized hail, and massive walls of blowing dust. The severe weather pattern has left thousands of residents without power, disrupted regional travel, and prompted official health warnings regarding hazardous, dust-laden air quality. The meteorological setup on August 5th, 2026, was a classic yet hypercharged display of Arizona's summer monsoon pattern. Earlier in the week, an exceptionally rare Category 5 haboob, the highest rating on the Phoenix dust storm scale, had already blanketed the Phoenix metropolitan area, leaving behind a heavily destabilized and incredibly humid air mass. On Wednesday, a strong ridge of high pressure remained anchored squarely over central Arizona. This system continuously pulled rich, tropical moisture northward. By mid-afternoon, surface dew points in the low deserts climbed well above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This massive influx of moisture collided directly with blistering ground temperatures that hovered between 104 degrees Fahrenheit and 108 degrees Fahrenheit across the state. As daytime heating peaked, intense convective updrafts rapidly developed. Storm cells quickly fired along the high terrain of the Mogollon Rim and the southern White Mountains before marching aggressively into the lower desert valleys. The first major wave of severe weather targeted north-central and west-central Arizona. At approximately 4:34 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, NWS Flagstaff detected a powerful, slow-moving severe thunderstorm over the Munds Mountain Wilderness, located just 7 miles southeast of Sedona. Moving south at a sluggish 5 miles per hour, the cell intensified rapidly, prompting meteorologists to issue an immediate severe thunderstorm warning for Coconino and Yavapai counties. The primary threat was quarter-sized hail and localized damaging winds. The impact of the northern storm cluster was felt immediately across several heavily trafficked corridors and recreational areas, including Interstate 17. Blinding rain and small hail slowed traffic to a crawl between mile markers 299 and 309. Commuters faced dangerous driving conditions between mile markers 299 and 312. Flash alerts were pushed out to popular swimming holes and parks, including Buda Beach, Red Rock Crossing, and the Crescent Moon Ranch, forcing hundreds of hikers and tourists to scramble indoors for emergency shelter. NWS officials warned residents that the storm was fully capable of causing substantial structural damage to roofs, shattering windows, and denting vehicles parked out in the open. While northern communities dodged large hail, southern Arizona faced an even more menacing threat. At 7:16 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the NWS Tucson office triggered blaring emergency cell phone alerts across southwestern Cochise County by issuing a tornado warning. A severe thunderstorm cell positioned near Sierra Vista exhibited distinct radar-indicated rotation. Traveling southwest at roughly 5 miles per hour, the rotating storm was capable of producing an isolated tornado alongside quarter-sized hail. Residents in Sierra Vista and surrounding rural zones were urged to immediately seek shelter in interior rooms, basements, or sturdy structures. The hazardous cell heavily impacted major regional transport routes, notably Route 90 between mile markers 319 and 336, Route 80 near mile marker 333, and Route 92 between mile markers 322 and 327. While emergency management teams are actively conducting damage assessments to confirm whether a touchdown occurred, the storm's powerful straight-line winds and intense cloud-to-ground lightning left a trail of downed trees, compromised mobile homes, and scattered debris across the county. Meanwhile, a historic rare Category 5 dust storm swallowed the Phoenix metropolitan area late Monday night, on August 3rd, 2026, plunging the Valley of the Sun into an apocalyptic orange haze and triggering a region-wide environmental and logistical crisis. Fueled by explosive severe thunderstorm outflows cascading from southeastern Arizona, the massive wall of dust, colloquially known as a haboob, collided with the lower desert's blistering atmosphere. It is officially designated as only the 5th Category 5 dust event recorded in the region over the past 16 years, according to the Arizona State University PHX-DUST scale. The meteorological event followed a punishing multi-day summer heat wave where ambient daytime temperatures reached 113 to 116 degrees Fahrenheit at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. The severe microbursts and gusty winds did not bring immediate cleansing monsoonal rainfall to the city center. Instead, they trapped immense volumes of dangerous particulate matter across Maricopa and Pinal counties, resulting in hazardous air pollution alerts that disrupted public health and travel well into the following days. The atmospheric setup leading to the August 3rd disaster was a volatile combination of historic thermal energy and a sharp monsoonal moisture surge. For weeks, an intense high-pressure system had been locked over the American Southwest, cementing July 2026 as the 6th hottest July in Arizona's history. Phoenix had just shattered back-to-back warm minimum temperature records, with overnight lows failing to drop below a stifling 91 to 97 degrees Fahrenheit. On Monday, as high pressure wobbled north toward Utah, a powerful low-level moisture push, known meteorologically as a Gulf surge, channeled humid air northward from Mexico and the Gulf of California. As afternoon heating spiked lower desert instability, massive thunderstorm clusters erupted over the high terrain of eastern Gila County and the mountain corridors of southeastern Arizona. These mountain storms grew severe, producing microburst wind gusts that clocked an astonishing 88 miles per hour in Wilcox and 71 miles per hour in Tucson. As these intense convective cells collapsed, they released massive downbursts of cold, dense air that slammed into the desert floor. This rushing atmospheric exhaust formed a consolidated, fast-moving outflow boundary that charged northwestward toward the Phoenix Basin at over 25 to 35 miles per hour. As the wind boundary plowed over the bone-dry, parched Sonoran terrain, it lifted an estimated 5,000-foot tall wall of fine sand, topsoil, and dust particles. By the time the haboob entered the East Valley communities of Chandler, Gilbert, and Mesa, between 9:30 p.m. and midnight, it had expanded into a massive multi-county environmental monster. Wind gusts at Sky Harbor Airport topped 49 miles per hour, while surrounding suburban hubs experienced straight-line gusts shifting between 50 and 65 miles per hour. In South Phoenix, the extreme winds triggered an infrastructure emergency. Along the intersection of 8th Street and Southern Avenue, powerful wind shear snapped multiple utility poles, sending live, high-voltage electrical lines crashing into dry brush and debris. The resulting electrical arcs ignited a rapidly moving fire. Fan-driven by the gusty monsoonal winds, the blaze quickly swept through nearby vegetation and engulfed 3 vacant commercial buildings. Teams from the Phoenix Fire Department responded under near-blind conditions, braving thick dust to establish defensive perimeters. While the structures were completely gutted, fire officials confirmed that because the buildings were vacant, no civilian displacement or injuries occurred directly from the structural fire. Beyond the South Phoenix fire, tree canopies across Tempe, Scottsdale, and Mesa suffered extensive damage. Dozens of shallow-rooted desert trees, such as Palo Verdes and Mesquites, were uprooted or split, damaging residential roofing, crushing parked vehicles, and blocking neighborhood thoroughfares. Overloaded power transformers erupted across the valley, leaving thousands of residents temporarily without air conditioning in the dead of the dangerous heat wave. a sudden violent convective storm fueled by the Mexican monsoon unleashed torrential rainfall and a severe hailstorm upon the capital city of Durango. The storm precipitated 54.6 millimeters of water in less than 40 minutes, completely overwhelming the municipality's urban drainage network. The catastrophic flash flooding has left hundreds of vehicles stranded, compromised residential structures, caused partial structural collapses at public schools, triggered localized blackouts, and paralyzed major transportation arteries. Municipal emergency teams, alongside state civil protection personnel, are actively conducting high water rescues, while public utility crews work continuously to clear debris-choked drainage grates. With the National Water Commission, CONAGUA, warning of sustained intense monsoonal systems, local authorities have declared a state of heightened alert across the metropolitan area. The extreme event is classified by meteorologists as a convective storm, an atmospheric phenomenon characterized by rapid vertical updrafts fueled by a volatile combination of high localized atmospheric humidity and intense surface heat. The overarching driver is the active phase of the Mexican monsoon, which has redirected vast plumes of tropical moisture into northern Mexico. This high humidity collided with a pronounced upper-level atmospheric divergence over the state of Durango, triggering rapid condensation and a localized cloudburst. Rain gauges across the capital recorded up to 54.6 millimeters of rainfall within a critical window of under 40 minutes. This rapid downpour was accompanied by severe hail and wind gusts exceeding 60 kilometers per hour. The deluge translated into an immediate urban crisis, primarily impacting the southern and southeastern sectors of the capital. Urban waterways quickly converted into fast-moving rivers. Primo de Verdad Boulevard, the vital artery connecting dozens of southern neighborhoods to the historic center, was completely submerged. Floodwaters rose above vehicle tires within minutes, stranding motorists and forcing drivers to abandon their cars. In Dolores del Río Boulevard, significant annegations were logged near the Alameda and the Arena Lobos, turning the thoroughfare into an impassable channel. In Jose Maria Patoni and Guadiana Boulevards, both routes suffered total paralysis. The parking facilities of a prominent commercial shopping center located on Boulevard Guadiana were completely inundated. Ex-Cuartel Juarez and FOS La Virgen, commercial and residential zones in these sectors recorded flash flooding, with water breaching front doors and damaging commercial inventory and household goods. At the Escuela Secundaria Técnica No. 19, Technical Junior High School 19, the structural integrity of a perimetral retaining wall failed under the immense hydrostatic pressure of the accumulated water, resulting in a partial collapse. In the Colonia Cuarto Centenario, an electrical transformer exploded due to storm-related shorts. The explosion triggered a minor fire in an adjacent tree and caused immediate power blackouts. This grid failure knocked out traffic signalization systems across major intersections, deepening the traffic gridlock. As the storm hit, emergency calls swamped dispatchers, beginning at approximately 4:26 p.m. Municipal and state responder networks immediately deployed to execute tactical mitigation maneuvers. Firefighters and civil protection personnel executed a high-stakes rescue operation in the Colonia Miguel de la Madrid, where a heavy commuter bus transporting maquiladora workers was caught and actively dragged by a surging torrent. Personnel from the Historic Center Management Unit deployed to guide pedestrians to safe high-ground zones, while emergency crews extracted motorists trapped under the Puente Negro Pass. A critical catchment basin located upstream of the urban center began experiencing active overspilling/surface runoff. Civil protection monitors maintain a permanent 24-hour watch at the structure. However, they have clarified that the spill does not present an immediate threat of structural failure or cataclysmic downstream flooding. While the meteorological volume of the storm was undeniably high, municipal engineers from Aguas del Municipio de Durango, AMD, emphasized that the severity of the flooding was severely exacerbated by anthropogenic factors, specifically urban litter. As AMD maintenance crews worked in waist-deep water during the storm, they extracted tons of solid waste, including plastic bottles, bags, and loose packaging, which completely sealed the storm drain grates and subterranean collection boxes. This created a damming effect, preventing the urban storm infrastructure from pulling water off the streets. Local citizens and officials have publicly noted that public negligence regarding waste disposal remains a primary point of failure during monsoon season. Vehicle rescue operations and roadside assistance were reported in the Miguel de la Madrid neighborhood, where passengers of a maquiladora truck swept away by the current were rescued. Similarly, on Primo de Verdad Street and in the FOS La Virgen area, assistance was provided to several motorists experiencing road difficulties, including another heavy-duty vehicle. In the Puente Negro area, passengers of 2 vehicles trapped by floodwaters were rescued after strong currents pushed them into a bridge wall. No injuries were reported in either case. Flooding was reported in several homes, and drainage work was underway in the San Angel neighborhood. Operational personnel were draining homes affected by the influx of rainwater, in addition to carrying out drainage work to expedite drainage. In the Insurgentes neighborhood, a wall that collapsed at Secondary School 19 due to moisture has been fenced off. Meanwhile, authorities ordered the temporary closure of public parks due to rising water levels in canals and overflow. At 4:26 p.m., the first reports of flooded homes began to emerge, particularly in the southern part of the city, where traffic lights were also out, worsening traffic chaos at various intersections. The damage worsened within minutes. Francisco Sarabia Street, in the historic center, was submerged. Primo de Verdad Boulevard became one of the most critical points, with cars and public transportation trucks stuck, trapping dozens of commuters. Residents trapped in the historic center were assisted by staff from the area's management, who guided them to safety zones. The Acequia Grande Aqueduct reached its maximum capacity, while the parking lot of a shopping center located on Guadiana Boulevard was completely flooded. In the Morga neighborhood, Oaxaca Street also experienced severe flooding, reflecting the intensity of the waters hitting various parts of the city. A sudden system of torrential rainstorms slammed the state of Nuevo Leon on Sunday, causing widespread flash floods, structural damage, and severe urban paralysis. The heavy downpours, which intensified rapidly during the afternoon and evening hours, completely overwhelmed the drainage infrastructure of the Monterrey metropolitan area. Local civil protection authorities immediately activated emergency response protocols as key avenues turned into fast-moving rivers, leaving multiple vehicles stranded and neighborhoods temporarily cut off. According to official briefings released by the Nuevo Leon Civil Protection Agency, led by Director Eric Cavazos, the sudden meteorological instability brought severe storms accompanied by intense electrical activity and dangerous wind gusts. The rapid accumulation of water transformed daily commutes into hazardous logistical nightmares, forcing municipal police forces to enact dynamic roadblocks to guarantee public safety. The intense volume of water recorded over a brief window resulted in the immediate overflow of urban channels and drainage networks. The metropolitan area's critical roadways bore the brunt of the storm's fury. Extensive flooding severely affected crucial traffic arteries, including Avenida Constitución, Avenida Morones Prieto, and Avenida Ruiz Cortines. The intersection of Copan and Fidel Velázquez registered intense water accumulation, stranding dozens of private vehicles and cargo trucks in dangerous currents. The vital Arroyo Topo Chico channel experienced a rapid surge, reaching nearly 90% of its total operational capacity. Emergency units set up permanent monitoring perimeters along its banks to preempt potential residential breaches. The material toll of the Sunday storm escalated quickly as municipal teams swept through affected zones. Emergency dispatch logs confirmed that at least 42 vehicles were completely stranded or severely damaged, after attempting to cross flooded sections. In a particularly dramatic incident, a local police patrol vehicle was swept away by a sudden current, though the officers on board managed to escape without sustaining serious harm. Beyond transit gridlocks, the storm system brought down trees, unstable commercial billboards, and high-voltage power lines. The subsequent structural damage triggered a massive power outage that cut off electricity to thousands of families across multiple municipalities. The Federal Electricity Commission, CFE, deployed specialized field crews to repair damaged transformers, working late into the night to gradually restore the local grid. Despite the widespread urban chaos and the high risk of the flash floods, Nuevo Leon Civil Protection confirmed a preliminary saldo blanco, 0 casualties, in terms of human fatalities directly linked to the August 2nd event. This outcome was heavily credited to swift interventions by rescue squads, who utilized specialized watercraft and ropes to extract drivers caught inside submerged cabins. Meanwhile, in San Nicolas and Escobedo, these northern metropolitan zones suffered heavy street flooding, clogged sewer lines, and significant delays in public transit networks. In Guadalupe and Juarez, low-lying communities encountered severe mud accumulation and water entering residential doorways, forcing families to move electronics and valuables to higher ground. On mountainous and southern regions, areas including Santiago and Galeana experienced enhanced vulnerabilities due to steep terrain, which increased the speed of surface runoff and heightened the risk of localized mudslides along rural highways.